Games between Plymouth Argyle and Portsmouth are usually pretty tasty. Will this afternoon's fixture live up to what's gone before?
We'll go to Portsmouth full of confidence, hoping to go there and try and win. We want to be the first team that beats them this year.
Can kind of get through this period and keep up the results and form that we've been doing, that's massive, and it will be for them as well.
Yeah, they're always high octane, aren't they? Afternoon, welcome to Argyle TV. Building up to a huge game at Fratton Park. Plymouth Argyle travelling up to Portsmouth for what will be, well, the first real big test of this new season. Second against third. And if this afternoon lives up to anything that we've just seen over the last 10 or so years in matches between these two, we're in for an absolute treat. Between now and then, we'll, of course, bring you team news from both the sides. We'll be hearing from the manager, Stephen Schumacher, on how he sees this game going. And we'll also go inside the Portsmouth camp as well, Danny Cowley, talking ahead of this one and how he feels the game should go as well. And guiding us through it, helping us through it, is the former Argyle defender Brian McGlinchey, who's sat alongside me for this afternoon's game. And Brian, we've just had a little kind of skip through memory lane of some important matches between these two sides in the past. And, well, it always seems to be a bit of a humdinger between these two, doesn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, the games have been brilliant to watch. I've enjoyed them. Hopefully we can maybe sort of keep those leads if we can get in front and sort of keep our defence on toes and get a result over the line. But you're right, this is a big test. They're unbeaten, and I think the top four playing each other this weekend. So it's going to be a real sort of litmus test of where we are. But the signs look good for us.
Yeah, it is. It's Portsmouth against Argyle, so second against fourth, and second against third, and Sheffield Wednesday play Ipswich, so fourth against first. And I know it's only the 10th game of the season, but it kind of feels like it's a big weekend, doesn't it, with those fixtures?
Yeah, most definitely. I think we've carried on the way we played last year. We've definitely proved that we can handle this league. We're a real force in this league, and any other season we'd have been in the playoffs last year. So we're definitely a force. Teams don't like to play us, and I think the manager's been really clever in pre-season, changing his formation, did not to be predictable, and it's definitely causing teams a lot of problems. So it'll be interesting to see how Portsmouth this afternoon try and combat that. But signs are good.
Well, we will be hoping for another extraordinary game up at Fratton Park. A reminder that if you're living outside the UK, you can watch it in full on Argyle TV for just £10. If you live inside the UK, though, it's audio commentary. Brian and myself will be bringing you that. And that's just £2.50. All the options that are available to you can be found on our website, pafc.co.uk. Just click on the Argyle TV tab, look for the streaming options, and you'll be able to find out what's available for you there and go through all the processes. But yeah, we're looking forward to this one. There's been plenty of talk in the build-up about what it's going to be like, how it's going to go, but we are, 55 minutes away from the main event, really. And we want to hear from you on Argyle TV this afternoon. Get in touch with the usual ways. You can get us on Twitter at Argyle, on Facebook with the same name as well, or you can comment on the video below on the YouTube channel where you're watching this at the moment, and we'll get to as many as we can throughout the afternoon. We would love to hear from you. We love getting you guys involved in the show. And yeah, we'll be bringing you team news in just a moment's time, and surely that will have quite a few talking points for you as well. Just a little kind of teaser, I suppose. We are hoping to get on a bit of a legend of this fixture, Peter Hartley, currently out in India. He's training today for his new club, Jamshedspor, but we are hoping to speak to him around about 2:30 this afternoon. I'm making no promises because we are half a world away, but we couldn't do this show and build up to Argyle against Portsmouth without getting the Yard Dog on. So hopefully we'll be able to hear from Peter Hartley a little bit later on. But as I said, keep on getting in touch. We'll be building up. Team news is coming your way very, very shortly. But first, let's hear from the manager, Stephen Schumacher, on how he feels this first huge test of the season is shaping up. The spirits must be incredibly high at the moment, the form we're in, heading into a big game. Take us inside that dressing room.
Good. The atmosphere, as you say, is really good at the moment. Everyone's happy. People are just got smiling faces because, as you say, yeah, we're in good form. The session was really good today, bit of a lighter one, bit of a fun session, but was good. Bit of a cool down for the lads who played the majority of the minutes on Tuesday, and then tomorrow we'll get really stuck into the prep for what's going to be a brilliant game away at Portsmouth, top of the league clash, so can't wait.
We'll get stuck into that in just a sec, but on the training side of things and kind of keeping the players ticking at the moment, it's been a really intense start to the season, a really good one. What sort of things are you doing to kind of keep them at that level and not maybe pushing them too far and not letting it drop off? How do you keep it there?
Yeah, so we've got to trust the performance team, so that's where Elliot comes into his own really. He tracks all the lads' data, the intensity that they train at, the intensity that they play at, and then sometimes you'd think with the amount of games that we've played, you'd have to sort of come off them on the training sessions a bit, but he will then say no, they need to keep topping up. So the lads are having to do extra little sprints and bits of work that the individuals need. So for example, Ryan Hardy last week, when we were going through the shape, because he was up at the top end of the pitch, he wasn't hitting the high speed distances that he was supposed to. So at the end of the session he gets pulled to one side, because when he's asked to do that on Tuesday night against Oxford, his body's got to be prepared for it. So that's where you put a bit of trust into that team to make sure we get no injuries. And then as the coaching staff, we just have to try and be sensible with what we do. So we knew Tuesday was quite a physical game, took a lot out of us. So today the session was about getting the lads out there, getting everybody like an active recovery session, if you like. And the lads who didn't play done a bit extra, so it was good. And then tomorrow, then we'll spend a bit longer on our prep, because that's what we usually do when we've got a 3-game week. But as you know, it was only a 2-game week. But yeah,
in the end it was
quite complicated, but we just try our best to get it right. Yeah,
and I suppose preparation work is always key, and then going into a game like Portsmouth, the form that they're in, that there must be so many avenues in which they can hurt teams. I mean, how do you see them at the moment?
Good. Look, they have got avenues, but predominantly what they're doing this season is putting people under pressure by getting balls forward and putting good crosses and good deliveries in the box, because the players that they signed in Colby Bishop, Joe Piggott, Dane Scarlett, they've all hit the ground running, playing well, so they're getting into the forward players and going from there. Behind that, they've got Pack and Tom Lowry, who are good footballers, can both hurt you if you give them time on the ball, and they've been solid at the back. So good balance to their squad at the moment. To say they brought in 12 players, I think, over the summer in their recruitment, so a big turnaround, change a little bit in the system and how they're playing. But we know it'll still be the same old tough game. Every time we've been there over the last few years, especially last year's game was a real tough one, but it was an enjoyable one, and we're looking for something the same this weekend.
They are normally belters, these games. Would normally actually end 2-2, don't they?
Well, away from home it has, yeah. We've we've blown leads, haven't we, a couple of times over the last few years there, and that hurts. So hopefully we can get ahead this time and manage to hang on or manage to get over the line. But look, I know Danny and Nicky well. They were on my pro licence course, and I know that they're flying as well. They're high in confidence. So it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I know it's early in the season. We haven't yet played 10 league games, but the top 4 play each other this weekend.
Yeah, you've seen that.
Portsmouth and us, and Sheffield Wednesday and Ipswich, and you can maybe look at it and think that's the first big crucial weekend of the season, maybe.
Yeah, well, look, it's only early though. It's only 9 games in or whatever it's going to be. Yeah. So there's still a long way to go, but it's good. It should be exciting for all of the teams, everyone's fans who are involved, and that's what we want. We want to be in these discussions and in these types of exciting games. It's brilliant for us to just be at that top of the league at the moment, competing. That's what we want to do. We want to be a match for everyone that we play, no matter what people should think where we should be or whatever. We're going to go and give it our all every single week, and we'll go to Portsmouth full of confidence, hoping to go there and try and win. We want to be the first team that beats them this year. Ipswich are the only other team unbeaten, and we want to try and end one of them results this week.
The gaffer Stephen Schumacher speaking to me earlier this week, and it's always interesting speaking with Stephen Schumacher, Brian, because when you get him talking about football, which obviously you do a lot because he's a football manager, he's always very well considered and thought out about exactly what he's doing at every single moment. If you talk to him about how he changes the team up every now and again, he'll tell you why he's done it. And he was talking about training this week and how, it's a 2-game week. They had the day off on Wednesday after the Oxford game, which was a hard-fought game. You were here, tough opposition, difficult conditions. So on the Thursday, when they come in, they did a very, very light but tailored training session. And he's always very, very good at just telling us exactly what's going on and why he's doing it.
Yeah, football's come on a long way. I was listening intently to what you were saying, and I was thinking back to my day. It was nothing like that. There was no sort of I don't know how you say it. There's no sort of support in that sense from those types of things. But yeah, he's what I love about him. He's very down to earth. He's a very humble guy. He gives you a really good picture of how he sees it and real honesty. And I really like that about him. And I love the fact that he never gets carried away. He's just very level-headed. He doesn't get carried away if they get a great result or if things aren't going that way. He sort of, he doesn't get too disappointed either. So I think it's just real good attributes. And you read the press, all the speculation of different jobs. He's a real first-class manager, and the fact that he's taken over his first managerial job from Ryan Lowe, and what he's done has been superb, really. So, and I love the fact he's come out and said he wants to stay here and he loves it here. So, and just look at the infrastructure of the club. It's in a really good sort of place at the moment. And why would you want to leave such a great club?
He was very emphatic, wasn't he, when he was asked about it in the press, which is great to see. And he knows there's a project going here, and he's only 30 games into his managerial career, which is incredible to think, really. And he's had an incredible amount of success. Let's see the side that he's picked for this afternoon's game then, shall we? Here it is. Couple of changes you'll notice from the side that beat Oxford on Tuesday night. Jordan Houghton's back in the starting lineup, Adam Randall dropping to the bench, and maybe more pertinently, Morgan Whittaker in from the start. Danny Mayer not involved at all. Of course, he came off in the game against Oxford, ran down the tunnel, was feeling a little bit unwell. What do you make of that side, Brian?
Yeah, I could see why he's brought Houghton back in. No disrespect to Randall. I think Randall's done unbelievable this year and last year as well. Just that little bit of experience, probably in a big game like this, and you never know, there could be a little knock there as well. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes from that sense, but I can understand that. And then the obvious replacement, Whittaker came on and done really well. Obviously, Mayers, if he'd been fit, he'd been playing today. So it's I think it's the obvious choice. I think it's right to trying to keep that continuity at the back, the same players at the back. So that's good to see. So it's a real sort of strong 11. Again, a really strong bench, and for me against Oxford, it was the fact that we aren't predictable. We can bring people from the bench, and Ennis from the bench, and it was Whittaker on Tuesday night from the bench. They really made a difference. They made Oxford think. They posed them different problems. So it's really good, healthy sort of competition for places now at Argyle, which gives everyone that 10-15%, because you have to play well to keep your shirt, and that's a good predicament to be in as a manager.
Yeah, you mentioned the continuity at the back, and who would have thought at the beginning of the season that James Wilson would be one of the players that's struggling to get into the starting lineup at the minute? He was pretty much never present last season when he was fit and available to play. But Nigel Lonwijk come in. I thought he had a superb game on Tuesday night. This is now his 6th consecutive start in all competitions, and he seems to be getting better and better after every performance, doesn't he?
Yeah, I must admit, yeah, very impressed. And you're right, Wilson, really, really good player as well. And yeah, he found himself unfortunate. I think obviously the sending off at Charlton's probably, that's what happens. You either get a little knock or a suspension, and someone takes your place, and someone's grabbed that opportunity, and Lonwijk's definitely done that. So yeah, it's unfortunate for Wilson, but hearing the manager say, the atmosphere is good, everyone's got a smile on their face. These players will all play their fair amount of games in a season. So, Wilson will get his opportunity back in there, and he's just got to, when he gets his opportunity, he'll take it. But you're right, good competition for places, and which is a real positive for me.
The other talking about point that I kind of mentioned was Danny Mayer not in the squad. Morgan Whittaker playing, of course. Morgan Whittaker got the goal, the winner against Oxford on Tuesday. Lots of people on social media picking up on this, as you'd probably expect. Simon goes, get well soon, Danny. Elliot, no Mayer is going to be a massive miss. No Mayer, no party. Danny's a huge miss. Concerning, but trust in Whittaker, trust in Azaz. That's from Zach. Lots of comments coming in about it. Obviously, the way he has been playing this season, Danny Mayer, is, especially the first half on Tuesday, he will be a miss for Argyle this afternoon, you'd imagine. But we've seen from Azaz, we've seen from Whittaker that they're more than capable replacements in this side, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, Azaz he's been a brilliant signing, hasn't he? He's him and Mayer have sort of picked in in those pockets of space, that number 10 areas, and they've been really hard to defend. Centre halves don't know whether to go into those areas, so it'd be interesting to see how Whittaker plays, and is it a similar sort of formation or sort of similar style to what the manager wants with Mayer out. So yeah, I could agree with the comments there. Mayer's a big blow for us. Mayer's brilliant at is he takes the ball under pressure, and he can run with the ball, and he can get you higher up the pitch, and so that will be a big blow for us. But look, this is what happens. Throughout the season, you're not going to have everyone fit, and you've got to maybe just try and deal with it. Every side will. So, but yeah, we'll see how Whittaker steps in this afternoon, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he can get on the ball. And let's be honest, he's had a real good goal threat, hasn't he? When he's come on, he's scored a few goals for us.
No, absolutely. 3 goals, all of them in the second halves of games. He was saying to me on Tuesday, he's finally been able to celebrate a goal, because his goal against Charlton obviously was in a 5-1 loss. His goal against Derby, we were 2-1 down, so he went and grabbed the ball, but he was able to go and celebrate in front of the Devonport end on Tuesday night. Another one today, Morgan, will go down very nicely. Let's have a quick look at our opponents, Portsmouth, then. This is their side for this afternoon's game. Danny Cowley's made one change from a 2-0 win over Burton on Tuesday night. That sees Josh Karoma, on loan from Huddersfield, come in for his first start. Ronan Curtis drops down to the bench. You mentioned, Brian, unbeaten this season, Portsmouth. They've won their last 6. Second on goal difference from Ipswich. They've made an incredible start, and they're playing a very attacking brand of football. 4-4-2, 2 strikers up top in banging form. They just seem to be getting it right at the moment, don't they? It's going to be tough.
Yeah, well, Fratton Park's there's always a good atmosphere there as well. So the atmosphere will be, we're taking, I think we're sold out our allowance as well, which is going to be fantastic. But you're right, they've started on fire. They've only won the same amount of games as we have, but they've drawn those 2 that we unfortunately lost. So, so similar sort of stats in that sense. But you're right. Listen to what our manager says around the way they play. They like to get the ball forward and get crosses in the box. So. But I think that will suit us as well, because I think our back three is potentially Scar. He's immense in the air and wins a lot of those duels. So yeah, he's going to be a big day today with Bishop. He started the season on form, but yeah, they're a decent side, but so are we. So we've just got to trust ourselves, and obviously keep them sort of tight for the first 10-20 minutes. Do not give them any sort of uplift really in the game, and then let's see how the game transpires. But it will be a difficult afternoon, but I think we're more than capable of handling the situation.
You mentioned Colby Bishop. He's got 6 goals since arriving from Accrington in this summer. Dane Scarlett is the other one. Now, I don't know whether you know too much about him, but he's an England under-20 international, was part of the Euro squad that won out in Israel in the summer. Scored a couple of goals in that. He's got 3 already since arriving on loan from Tottenham. Only 18. Tottenham rate him incredibly highly. It's quite a good get, I think, for Portsmouth at this level to get a striker like that in. And he's one. Colby Bishop is a striker that knows his level, but it's all right kind of marking him. Dane Scarlett is another one, and seeing the goals that he scored this season, a couple from outside the box, a couple of diving headers, an exciting talent, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I know a little bit about him. I think he's played about 9 or 10 games for Tottenham, I think, and he's I think much more in the Europa League that they played in a couple of years or last year for Tottenham. So yeah, for him to have 9 appearances in Tottenham's first team already is tells you all about the ability of the lad. So yeah, but he probably is probably loving the fact that he's getting first team football and getting that exposure and understanding the intensity of that, because there's a big difference of playing under 21 football or reserve football, as maybe some of us know it. So yeah, great opportunity for him. So he will be a threat. You're right. But I think apart from the Charlton game, our defensive performances have been fantastic for a couple of years now. There's been the odd blip here and there, but they've been one-off games, and hopefully this afternoon's not one of those blips. But I think we can handle most teams in this division. But yeah, they'll definitely be a threat.
Let's have a little look at what's been said on the comments, the social media that's coming in. At Argyle on Twitter or on Facebook, you can find us there, or you can just drop us a message on the bottom of this YouTube page where you're watching us at the minute, and a bit of a conversation going on in the comments, which is always great, actually, to be honest. So Danny goes, tough game, but who do we think can win it? Well, that's a question that has been answered by quite a few people down here. So this is one of the responses. 3-0 win. Take that happily. Danny then comes back to say, I was thinking yes, but I'd take a draw. Win would be icing on the cake. There's another comment that's coming there from Green Army 69. Keep these coming in, please, because it's great to hear from you. It is going to be an intriguing game, as I kind of alluded to. 2-2 seems to be a popular score in recent times. The last 3 out of the last 4 games have ended in a 2-2 stalemate. What an absolute thriller. We'd probably take that today. But a nice 1-0 that we had here back end of last season will go down very nicely too. Now, there is a Pompey fan in the Argyle squad. Did you know that? Matt Butcher grew up just outside of Portsmouth and grew up supporting the side. Said his favourite player was Matty Taylor when they were up in the Premier League. But having joined Bournemouth and then grown up playing with them and eventually moving to Argyle, of course, in the summer, his allegiances have changed somewhat.
I want to be part of a successful team. One of the decisions coming here was for that reason. Obviously the start is really good, and we've had quite a tough run as well, and we're still in the middle of it, so it's still important to keep that going and not really relax now.
You mentioned we're in the middle of a tough run, and we've got arguably one of the toughest games of the season on Saturday, with Pompey being top of the table, going to Fratton Park. Side you know a lot about. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, loving it. Obviously, grew up kind of around there, so it's always nice to go back and gives family a chance to come and watch it, which is nice, obviously, rather than travelling up and down the country. Mm-hmm. But no, it's a massive game. As everyone is kind of, we've shown results this season. We've kind of beat the teams that have come down from the champ, and then lost against teams that last year were kind of towards the bottom end of the table. So every game's so different and so important that we approach it right and carry on this form.
When you do play against a side that where your family is based and your friends are based, and you kind of grew up following, does it have a different feeling in it, or is that kind of taken away over the years? It's
kind of taken away over the years, to be honest. The first couple of times you do it, obviously it's a bit of a shock, because you're looking at where you used to sit as a kid and stuff like that. But as you get older, your kind of affiliations, if you like, get taken away, because you're always associated and want the best for the club you're at. So that kind of supportiness takes it out, and you kind of just click into game mode and focus on it that way, to be honest. What have you made from what you might have seen about Portsmouth this year? They've obviously started great. Them in Ipswich, we got them in the next 2 games. They've started obviously a couple of points above us, so they're exactly the same feeling as us. They're feeling on top of the world, and we're both going to be really excited for this game. I think it'll be a good couple of games coming up, so I think both teams are right at the top of their performance at the minute, and it'll be a really exciting game.
Yeah, I think this weekend we're only 8-9 weeks into the season, and this weekend sees the top 4 play each other.
Yeah.
Which is, it's early, but it still feels quite crucial, doesn't it?
Yeah, massive. Obviously, like I said before about momentum, if you can kind of get through this period where we've probably looked at it at the start of the season, said this is probably our toughest period in succession, if you like. If you can get through this period and keep up the results and form that we've been doing, that's massive, and it will be for them as well. So we've got to treat this with the same importance as every other game, and really concentrate on how we're going to do it.
He's been impressive since joining in the summer, hasn't he, Matt Butcher? He's got better, a bit like Nigel Lundvik as the performances have gone on. But Pompey fan turned Plymouth Argyle supporter, of course, and now player. So if he can have a good game today. We are just over half an hour away from kickoff up at Fratton Park on Argyle TV, hoping to have Peter Hartley with us very, very shortly. So stay tuned for that.
Ball in, good goal, progress into the second division.
Let's have a quick look at the comments that are coming in then. Lots of positivity, actually, I've got to say. So Mark Ruston says, previous seasons you probably would have taken a draw, but this season we should back ourselves. Some real quality performances so far. Here's another one that's coming from Luke saying, always a cracking game against Pompey, but hoping for a 2-1 victory. Loyal Dutch Argyle fan. Nice to have you with us. Luke, superb. For you to be joining us. More positivity coming here from Tony. Says 2-0 Argyle win. We had the 3-0 earlier on as well, which is great. Keep them coming in at Argyle on Twitter and on Facebook. It's the same comments as well, or you can drop us a comment on the bottom of this YouTube page where you're watching from at the moment. Anyway, let's have a little dive inside the Portsmouth camp then, shall we? Danny Cowley is obviously in his second full season as Portsmouth manager, having just fallen short last season. He's taken to it like a duck to water this time around, and the start has been superb for Portsmouth. But what does he think about this afternoon's game?
We've had a good opportunity to watch Plymouth over the last 24, 36 hours. I think they're a very good team. I think they had a fantastic season last year, 80 points, and unfortunately missed out on the last day of the season in the playoffs, and no doubt that was really tough for them to take. But the way that they've responded, I think, says everything about their club and their group. And I think teams show ambition in all different ways, and the way they've been able to keep that group together and also add to it. I think they've got an even stronger squad than they had last year, and having watched them I think they've won the last 4 matches, and having watched those games back, I can see why they've been so successful, and we anticipate a really tough game come Saturday. The group have trained well. We took some learning from the Burton game, and also turned our focus to Plymouth. So hopefully the boys have left here knowing exactly where Plymouth's strengths lie, and what we will need to do come Saturday if we want to get on the right side of the result.
What's the squad looking like ahead of Saturday? Can you provide any update on the likes of Joe Rafferty and Michael Jacobs?
Yeah, we're really hopeful that we'll have a full squad to pick from, barring Louis Thompson and Jayden Reed come Saturday. So that'll be a real positive. I think for us it's been a relentless start to the season. The games have come thick and fast. Saturday for us probably represents the end of the start, if that makes sense. to be one club is so important, and we know that we can't achieve the success that we want for this football club without everybody's buy-in and everybody being aligned and joined up. And no, it's been a real positive this season. Of course, we know that we have to bring the performances and the results, but I think the supporters know the impact and the influence that they can have on the team. They've seen that firsthand when we went behind at Cambridge, when Bristol Rovers equalised in the 70th minute, and then again against Peterborough when we conceded so early. So yeah, we love playing at Fratton Park in particular. It's one of the best places in the world to play football, and we feel really privileged. And for us, we know that no one's going to come to Fratton Park and get an easy ride.
Now, that is for sure. Danny Cowley there speaking ahead of this afternoon's game. And we'll be chatting a little bit more about how we feel this match will go. But I am thrilled to say I can see the face of Peter Hartley waiting in the background here. So let's say hi and greetings from Jamshedpur, India. Hello, Peter. Nice to speak to you, mate.
I just hope the signal's okay, mate. Can you hear me and see me okay? I'm 9,000 miles away, so anything can happen here. You might see a few geckos or lizards.
It's crystal clear. It's probably better maybe than our connection that we'll get with Rob up in Portsmouth at Fratton Park in a moment. Eh? You see, you've got me 9,000 miles away, but it's absolutely superb. How is life? How is it out in India at the moment for you, Pete?
It's good, mate. This is my third season here. We won the league last year, so we're in the Asian Champions League end of this season. So we're just getting ready. We're in pre-season at the moment. The season starts for us on the 11th of October. We play Odisha. It's my first season now because of the 2 COVID seasons. So this season's my first season to play in front of the home fans. So it's going to be exciting. We've got a good manager, replaced a good manager. So it's good times.
Yeah, what is it? What is it like playing out there? Obviously, the heat must be pretty formidable in some areas, but because it's such a vast country. But can you compare it to playing football in the UK?
No, you can't. It's a different kind of football, mate. Last 2 seasons I've lived in Goa, which is obviously a holiday destination for a lot of us in the UK. So that was ridiculous heat getting towards November, December time. This year I'm in the northeast of India, so the humidity is still high, but the heat's not so bad. You know, the dry heat from the sunshine's not so bad like it is in Goa. But it's been. I'm really enjoying my football, mate. And obviously I'm 34 now. You only play 20 games a season, so I'm looking at terms of longevity to play as long as possible. So it's working out pretty well. We had a great manager last couple of seasons in Owen Coyle, and he's obviously been replaced this season by Eddie Boothroyd. So I'm learning a lot from managers from the UK coming out here, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose to get blokes like yourself playing out there and get managers like Owen Coyle and Eddie Boothroyd. It was only a couple of years ago. Eddie Boothroyd was England under-21 manager. He high quality standard of coaching.
Oh.
What is football received like out in India? Because obviously cricket is the main thing out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Cricket's absolutely massive in India, but the ISL, the league is growing every year. There's a couple of states that don't have cricket teams, like Kerala, so they're predominantly a football-based state, so they get 60,000-70,000 to every game. We've got a 30,000 seat stadium, Jamshedpur, so we're predominantly a football state as well. So it's a good place to be, and it's really good football. But like you said, the heat is you have to change everything at half time. Everything half time you change.
Oh no! Over here you're wrapping up and putting on extra layers and stuff, and out there you're taking it off. We couldn't obviously have you on building up to this game against Portsmouth without turning back the clock back to that incredible day at Home Park down at the Devonport end. That header at the far post, which sent this place wild. I mean, what are your memories, Peter, of that moment and the days that kind of surrounded that?
Well, it was a tough couple of games, to be fair. I remember the first leg. It was a game of 2 halves. At Fratton Park, we battered Pompey first half. Then we couldn't seem to get out of our own half the second. But obviously, it was a bit disappointing to be in the playoffs that season.
Have we lost him? See whether we can get Pete back. The connection was too good to be true, wasn't it, Brian? That one, it seemed like it was working perfectly. I think he is back. Here he goes. Pete,
Yeah, I'm back.
you did kind of allude to it, 9,000 miles away, but it's stuck nicely.
Yeah.
But yeah, take us back to that season again.
Yeah, I'm saying it was a bit disappointing to actually be in the playoffs that season with the team we had. I thought we should have run away with the league. But, the biggest thing in League One and League Two is keeping your key players fit and being consistent. And unfortunately, we fell off towards the end, but we made a lot of Pilgrims happy in winning the second leg 1-0. And obviously, if they're struggling today for a winning goal, I'm sure there'll be one in the 88th minute at the back stick for them.
We can only dream for that, Pete Hartley at the back post. Absolutely. Obviously, that season ended up being disappointing with the Wembley loss. But your time down here at Argyle, you seem to take to the fans really well. They seem to take to you. That goal obviously helped hugely. But how what did you make of it down here? How did you enjoy it?
It rejuvenated my career, to be totally honest with you. I come off the back of two seasons and 2 relegations from League One, and then John Sheridan gave me the opportunity to come to Plymouth. And if I'm being totally honest, if it wasn't for personal reasons with my family, I'd have loved to stay for a long, long time, because I really took to the fans, and I feel they took to me, and I've still got a lot of friends down there. And I will be coming back in April down into Plymouth with my family. So hopefully I can get to a game then. But I absolutely love my time there, and hopefully I get to come and watch a couple of games when I'm back in the UK.
Well, you'd be welcomed with open arms, Pete. Absolutely. Yeah, fond memories. We played the goal earlier on. I don't think it ever stops giving me goosebumps, actually, to be honest. So thanks for that. It was a great moment. And, best of luck this season and playing in the Asian Champions League. Hope it all goes well for you, mate. And, when you are over here, come and say hi.
Top man. Thank you very much. Good luck today, boys. Cheers, Charlie.
Cheers, Pete. Peter Hartley. How incredible is that? The hero from our Wembley, our playoff semi-final against Portsmouth. And as you said, if we are struggling for a goal today, whip one to the back post and see what happens. Anyway, we're just over 20 minutes away from kickoff at Fratton Park. Remember, you can buy your streams to watch if you live outside the UK, the match on Argyle TV, or to get your audio pass to listen to commentary, both on the Argyle website. Click on the Argyle TV tab, check for the streaming options, and it will tell you exactly what to do there. Coming up in the next couple of minutes, we'll be discussing the game in a little bit more detail, heading across to Fratton Park and checking back in with the team news again. Right, let's refresh our memories with the 2 team news then, shall we, ahead of this one. We'll start with Argyle, of course, coming into this game with 4 victories in a row, 3rd in the table, just a couple of points behind Portsmouth. 2 changes made by Stephen Schumacher for this one. Jordan Houghton, Morgan Whittaker coming in for Adam Randall and Danny Mayer. And we were talking about it earlier on, Brian, about how we like the fact that there is competition in there. We've seen Whittaker come in and do well. Where do you feel Argyle can hurt Portsmouth today? Where do you feel that the kind of key areas of players to look out for will be?
Well, for me, Mumba's been very, very good defensively and especially getting forward. I think he's given us something different, really, down the sort of either the right or left. He's played both wing back sort of positions. I think Azaz obviously is a key one. I thought he was quite quiet on Tuesday night against Oxford. I think Oxford tried to maybe sort of nullify him a little bit. So if he can pick the ball in those pockets of space, I think he can create things for us. And I remember this away game last year. In particular, Hardy ran the channels brilliantly. Was able to get in behind. So I think we've just got to try and stretch their back 4 and get in behind. So, they're key areas, but for me, it's all around, the players being 7, 8 out of 10. If every player plays to that sort of level, then win their individual battles, then I am confident that we will get some sort of result today. I think obviously we're aiming for a win, and that's definitely the ultimate goal. But I think if we came away here from a draw, I don't think Schumacher will be too despondent, because tough place to go, and they're obviously in fine form as well. But there's a few key areas that we can really expose this afternoon.
Let's have a look at the Portsmouth side as well then, shall we? One change made by Danny Cowley. He hands the first start to Josh Karoma, who was signed on loan from Huddersfield this season. He takes the place of Ronan Curtis. We spoke about the strength and depth that Argyle have on the bench, Brian. Just looking at Portsmouth's bench, you've got Joe Pigott, who is on loan from Ipswich, who's serious campaigner at this level. You've got Ronan Curtis, an Irish international. You've got Joe Morrell, a Welsh international. You've got some serious firepower for them as well, haven't you?
Yeah, they spent a lot of money. They've got good in depth as well. Like, Curtis is a very good delivery. I'm surprised he's on the bench, to be honest. Knowing a little bit about him, he comes from the same boys team as me back home. So really good side they are, and they'll be. And as Cowley said, they'll be looking to get Fratton Park bouncing. I've played there once or twice, and the atmosphere there is very good. Not as good as home park, though, I must add. So, it'll be a really good occasion. And these are the games. These are the games you're desperately playing, and quite jealous, really. So, it should be a good game of football.
It's Ronan Curtis, Derry boy, like you, yeah. That's what you're saying. Forget about Derry girls. It's all about Derry boys.
Derry boys, yeah.
McGlinchey, Curtis, all of them in. Let's head across to Fratton Park, shall we, and speak to Rob McNichol, see whether the connection between us and Portsmouth is as good as it was between us and Jamshedspor. Hiya, Rob. How good was it to hear from Peter Hartley earlier on? I know he's someone you know pretty well.
Yeah, fantastic. Haven't spoken to Pete for a long time, but sitting here at the back of the stand at Fratton Park, I won't forget the games that we had here, of course, in the playoffs, even before we got into his heroics at home park a few days later. But no, always someone you could rely on 100%, wasn't he, Peter Hartley? Very, very full on. But we've got plenty of players like that in our squad now, and hopefully they can give us some similar results and a similar sort of game, because these games are almost always classics, aren't they? Portsmouth versus Argyle. Here's hoping for another one that they come out on the right side of.
Yeah, they are always classics. There's always, almost a sellout whenever we play against them as well. There's big feeling between the two sets of supporters. Do you think it will be a similar one today, looking at the way that Portsmouth have started this year and maybe speaking to people up and around, the journalists up and around you to the side? They feel this could be their year, don't they, I think?
There is certainly a massive positivity. Why wouldn't there be? Not only have they had an unbeaten start, but after a couple of draws to begin with, they've won everything since. So, they are flying. But as well as I do, Charlie, when you arrive at opposition grounds, there's usually two little bits of small talk, isn't there? Something about the weather, because, we're British, and then something about how was your journey. And it's quite standard. The third item today has been usually a good game, this. Pretty much everyone, stewards, other media, everyone is mentioning it's usually a good game between these two sides. And it is. I think if you look at the last 14, 15 games, I think there's a couple of 3-0s, one way, one the other. And other than that, loads of draws, loads of games decided by one goal. That seems the most likely. I don't want to curse it one way or another, but that does seem likely. And you're right, the atmosphere it's always a bit different this game. I've already heard a little bit of around these parts, they don't like calling it a derby. I can understand why. Sometimes people think that's a geographical thing. I don't think it's a derby in geography. I think it's a derby in spirit, whether it's the long-standing dockyard rivalry, but also the football rivalry. If you go back to 6-7 years ago, these two teams were in the same sort of place in the playoffs. Then they went up together. Remember Portsmouth pipping us on the last day to win the league. And even over the last couple of seasons, okay, we might have had a blip and come down and back up again, but we were higher last season and they're only a couple of points ahead this year. So these two teams have mirrored each other the last 6-7 years in terms of their performance on the field. And then there's obviously the feeling in the stands as well. So we'll see. Our words could come back to bite us in a couple of hours when we've had a drab 0-0. But I think it's unlikely. And certainly the atmosphere in here is already starting to ramp up a bit. What are we, 15 minutes from kickoff?
Yeah, if we get a 0-0, I'll be incredibly surprised, Rob. I think we can probably say... Well, actually, I'm not going to say that because it will come back to bite me, and this is being recorded probably as well, isn't it? We did that... Yeah, just edit that out, please. We had a little glimpse of it when you were talking there. We could hear the Argyle supporters. Brian alluded to it earlier on as well. Sold out our allocation, basically 2,000 members of the Green Army out there. Portsmouth have sold out their home the entire stadium as well, haven't it? It should be a cracking atmosphere. It already sounds like it is.
I think they heard you. You must be coming out on the big screen. I can't quite see the screen from where I am. But yeah, that was the Argyle fans in full voice as the players are just leaving the pitch. They've just finished their warm-up, which is why you heard them. But this is a ground that's always noisy. I've never been here for a game other than Argyle, but whenever you see them on the TV or whatever, Fratton Park is a noisy stadium. Their fans get behind their team. Obviously, so do ours, travelling in great numbers. So the spirit from the off is bound to be something. From an Argyle perspective, we want to get hold of the ball, keep it, and try and quiet the home fans and make it so that what you just heard, the 1,900 or so Argyle fans making the noise, is hopefully what we'll hear throughout. We'll see.
Top stuff, Rob. Thanks a lot. As always, live from Fratton Park there, Rob McNichol. And he will be obviously on Twitter, on social media, writing up everything afterwards as well for you this afternoon. Just on that, Brian, as well, it is always a big atmosphere as well. It feels slightly different to just a normal game, doesn't it? These sort of matches. And it is not necessarily because it is a derby, but it's the rivalry. We've basically been in the same league, challenging for promotion with them for the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's the history of the game, it's the legacy of the games previous, isn't it, as well? So, and then this intensifies as well, if you can, as such, with the fact that both teams are up near the top of the table. I know it's early, but still, once you're 10 games in, that's probably a good sort of story of where your season's going to be or where you're going to be for the rest of the season. So, so big game, big crowd, both sets of fans supporting the teams in the right way. So yeah, and hopefully the players can make it a good game as well.
Absolutely. That's what we're hoping for. We are very, very close to kickoff, just under 15 minutes to go. A reminder that there will be a minute's silence and a playing of the national anthem ahead of kickoff today. It's the first home game Portsmouth have had since Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II passed away a week ago. So that will happen before the game, as it will across the rest of the country again today. A reminder that if you want to watch the game and you live outside the UK, you can. It's just £10 on Argyle TV. If you live inside the UK, it's a £2.50 job for your audio commentary. Brian and I will be putting our headsets on and making sure we bring you the best of the action in about 13 minutes' time. There are some other big games in the league, though, today. We've mentioned one of them. That's at Hillsborough between Sheffield Wednesday and Ipswich. There are quite a few, actually, tasty-looking matches on paper this afternoon. If you look at Pride Park, it's Derby against Wycombe, two sides that would want to be challenging for the playoffs this year. Bolton against Peterborough United. Again, two good starts to the season for those two sides. And Cambridge, who are the surprise package really in sixth place at the moment, they host Barnsley. Again, another side that would be wanting to get up and be challenging at the top end of the table. Anyway, that is pretty much it from us here on the pre-match show on Argyle TV. Commentary to come of Argyle's trip to Fratton Park. It's filling up nicely looking at the pictures at the moment. It's a beautiful day up in Hampshire, and it should be a great game. Commentary coming your way next.